It's finally working. So we finally got Instagram working. So everybody on Facebook who was on here, we got Matias on here. Thank you for coming in. So as y'all come in, hit that share button on Facebook, on Instagram. We are finally live. I think we are live. Let's make sure. We'll see if we get any activity, people coming in here. We finally got it live on Instagram, so we're going to get started in 2 minutes. I'm going to give people a couple minutes to get in. We got started a couple minutes late on Instagram through no fault of my own, but this is what happens with technology. Sometimes the technology doesn't do what it's supposed to do in the speed that it's supposed to do it. But we are all here right now. All's well that ends well, and we are just getting started. So as y'all come in right now, y'all know who I am. My name is Dre Baldwin, creator of this whole work on your game conglomerate, this whole work on your game framework. Everything we got here about work on your game is happening right now. If you are watching on Facebook and you are lurking and you're not leaving a comment, hit the share button. All right, if you ain't gonna hit the share button, leave a comment. If you're gonna leave a comment, hit the share button. Pick one, pick the other, do one of them. If you're on Facebook right now, hit that share button, share this on your feed so somebody who needs it can get it. As y'all checking in, tell me your name and location over there on Instagram. Y'all know what it is. Tell me your name and location on Instagram so I can shout you out. If you want to shout out, tell me your name and location. We got Killer T here. What's going on, everybody? As y'all checking in, 2003 Nikes, Eyeball 2424. As y'all coming in, tell me your name and location. We getting started in less than 2 minutes. I'm just giving everybody an extra minute here on Instagram because Instagram, for whatever reason, I had to push the start live button like 4 times to get it working. I don't know why, but it doesn't matter because we all here right now. The only thing that matters is what we're doing right now. The past is the past. The future we can't control, but we can do something about right now to better shape our future, better position ourselves for the future. We got Dre checking in from Virginia. Shout out to Virginia. Fred from Tanzania. So there we go. Officially, we are international. With Fred checking in from Tanzania, we are officially international. So if y'all checking in, go let somebody know there's an international live stream going on right now, hosted by Dre All Day of Work on Your Game University. The topic, y'all see it in the pinned comment here on Instagram. The topic is how to be ready to play at all times on Facebook. Y'all see the topic, I believe, is above. It might be below. I don't know how they do it when the live is actually happening. As y'all come in, tell me your name and location in the comment section. We getting started in less than 60 seconds. I'm gonna introduce myself. I'm gonna introduce the topic. Then we're gonna get into this value that I drop every single day. I would suggest, if you want to get the most out of what I'm about to give you, that you grab a pen and paper, you grab something that you could take notes with. If you got 2 phones, pick up the other one and send yourself an email or a text or open the notes or open Google Docs or somewhere you could take notes on what I'm about to tell you, because you're not going to remember everything I say, but I guarantee you will want to remember everything that I said. When I'm done, you're going to wish you remember everything that I said, because I guarantee you I'm going to give you some value here today. Matthew Mellor checking in. What's up? Ricardo checking in from Abington, PA. Shout out to Abington. I went to school at Penn State, Abington, my freshman year. Thomas from New York. Shout out to New York. Matt from Sydney. So as y'all come in, again, tell me your name and location. We're getting started in less than 30 seconds. I'm going to introduce myself right now and we're getting into the topic. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, former 9-year professional basketball player, author of 25 books, creator, publisher, over 7,000 YouTube videos, 7,000 blog/articles, 1,400 podcast episodes /masterclasses. I've done 4 TED Talks. I'm a coach, consultant, keynote speaker. I already told you I'm an author. I'm an entrepreneur, owner, Work on Your Game Incorporated, and creator of this whole brand philosophy framework that is called Work on Your Game. Taking the pro athlete mindset and using it to applying it to dominate your game in business, sports, and life. That's what this whole framework is about. Everything that I talk about is part of the Work on Your Game framework. And each day I'm just giving you something new from it, because I guarantee you I have unlimited material inside of this framework. The framework that I got, the material inside of this framework is unlimited. That's how I've published over 15,000 pieces of content over the last 15 years. How I publish all these books. Every day I've done over 1,000 live streams in my lifetime. How every day I can come on here and give you something new out of this framework that you have never heard before. In this framework every single day. I'm able to do that because I work on my game and I show you how to work on your game. So Facebook, please hit that share button. Let me see what else we got going on before we get started. We got Tyron checking in from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Vietnam. Shout out to Fayetteville. Shout out to J. Cole. T.I. Boogie just started the Mirror Motivation. Shout out to everybody who got that Mirror Motivation. If you haven't claimed a free copy of the book, make sure you get it. You can get the Bulletproof Bundle at the same time. Just click the little box when you put in your information on order form. Today's topic, let's get into that, because we already a little bit behind, because again, Instagram technology, who knows. The topic here today is how to be ready to play at all times. Now, when I say ready to play, Adrian from Germany, what up? When I say ready to play, I don't necessarily mean sports. All right, being ready to play could be anything that you do in life. Any of y'all have kids, and sometimes you come home from work and you don't really feel like dealing with your kids, you don't feel like playing, you don't feel like jumping around, you don't feel like hearing anybody's mouth. But as soon as you walk in that door from at your house, coming home from work, you got to be ready to go, right? You got to be ready to give energy to your significant other, energy to your kids, energy to whoever's asking for it, whatever you got to take care of home. You got to give energy to that, even though you might not always feel like it. Sometimes when you go to work, you don't feel like it. Sometimes you might be tired. You ain't get enough sleep the last night. Somebody was making noise. One of your kids was sick. You're getting sick of your boss. You got all kinds of things going on in your life, but now you got to show up to work and you got to deliver at work. And you don't really feel like it, but you got to get yourself ready to play because you're a professional, and that's what professionals do. We show up and we're ready to play at all times. If you're an athlete, of course, you got games all the time, and usually athletes can get up for the games. It's hard for sometimes for athletes to get up for the practices, and that's at the amateur level and at the professional level. I've seen it at every level, that sometimes athletes are not ready to get up for the practices or the trainings or the off-season workouts, and sometimes even for the games, because we get tired, we got fatigue. Maybe you haven't been playing a lot in the games. Maybe you had a bad game last game. Maybe the team is trash and you know the season's going nowhere, but you still got 5 more games to play and you don't really feel like it. How do you get yourself up and activated and ready to play even when you don't feel like it, even when you're not excited about it, even when everything's going terribly, even when the last time you got yourself up for the game ended up going poorly? Why would you get yourself ready for the next game? How do you get yourself ready for the next game? How do you stay ready to play at all times? Those are all questions, and I got good news for you. I have answers. I'm going to tell you how to be ready to play at all times in your life. We're not ready to play, metaphorically speaking. That's in a sport, in a business, in interactions, personal relationships, everything. How can you always be ready to play? I'm going to tell y'all a story before I even get into this, as I usually do, because the story is easy for y'all to connect and understand a little bit more why I'm saying what I'm saying. I was watching this LeBron James documentary that came out probably like 10 years ago, even before that. I can't remember the name of the documentary, but some of y'all might have seen it. It's probably like 10 years ago, maybe around the time when he joined the Heat, or right before that. It was this doc about LeBron and his high school team and how his teammates were like these great friends and how they stayed friends through the years and how they grew up together and all this. And there was this one little anecdote in the documentary. When LeBron and his boys, they were playing in some AAU tournament, and they were playing in the championship game. And they were about to play in the championship. It might have been the AAU tournament. It might have been like the state title game. I don't remember. But they were about to play in the championship of some tournament. And the team that they were about to play against was a team that they had already kicked this team's butt earlier in the tournament. They had beat this team by like 30, 40 points, blew them out. They had way more talent. Of course, they had LeBron James, and they dominated this team, and they beat them. So now they're about to play that same team again for the championship of the same tournament. So they're in the layup line warming up. And the way the story goes, more than the game. That was the name of it. You got it. Thank you, T.I. Boogie. And the story goes, LeBron James is the coach of the team. He pulled everybody off the floor during the layup line, because during the layup line, the coach was like, these dudes, LeBron and them, they were kind of lollygagging through the layup line. They were joking around. They weren't taking the game seriously. They weren't really getting ready to play. And the coach pulled everybody off the court and took them back in the locker room. And he said to them, y'all are about to play the championship game of this tournament, but y'all are lollygagging around out there in the layup line as if y'all not about to play a serious game. These dudes that y'all about to play against, I know y'all beat them by 30 earlier in the tournament or earlier in the season or whatever it was, but listen, y'all think these boys is just going to lay down just because y'all beat them before? Y'all think they going to quit just because LeBron James on the team? Y'all think they not going to show up and try to beat y'all? Y'all think they haven't been game planning on how to beat y'all the whole time since y'all kicked their butt the first time? You think they not ready to play? Y'all think y'all just going to win because you got more talent than them? And then he said to them, this is what the coach said to his team before the game. This is what he said. He said, y'all about to go out there and lose. This is what the coach said to his own team. He said, y'all about to go out there and lose because y'all think that the other team's just going to lay down because y'all got more talent and because y'all beat them in the past. And then they went out there. Now, hopefully he was trying to wake them up, right? And they went out there and the game was really close. The other team, like the coach predicted, they had a game plan. They slowed the game down. They tried to neutralize LeBron because obviously they let LeBron get loose. He was going to kill him. And the game was really close, went down to the wire, and LeBron James and them lost. They lost the championship game in this tournament, playing against a bunch of dudes who ain't never played nowhere in their lives after that. But they could always say, we beat LeBron James and them in high school in some tournament because LeBron and them did not come to play. there was a time, I'll tell you another story. My freshman year in college, I was playing at the school, Penn State Abington. And we had one game at the end of the season. It was our last game of the season. Because when I joined the team at Penn State Abington, they had won the championship the year before I got there. So I was a freshman. But the year before, they won the championship in our little league at the way it was set up back then. It's not the same now, but the way it was then, they won the championship. So my freshman year, a bunch of players on the team, it was their second year because you can only play 2 years there. So we were playing the last game of the season. We were tied with another team for the playoff seedings. And y'all know how playoff work. Whoever has the higher seed, they get the home game. And it's not a series. You get one playoff game, or at least each round. So us and another team was tied with the same record, and we had one game left. We was the only team with a game. So if we won our game, we got a home playoff game. And if we lost the game, we had to go on the road for the playoff game. And the road playoff game was like 3 hours away. So nobody wanted to have to go ride 3 hours for a playoff game. We wanted to play a home playoff game, of course. So we go to this last game of the year. We playing against like the worst team in the league. They're trash. I can't remember what school this was. I think it was Penn State Delco. I think it was Penn State Delaware County. My freshman year. The last game of the year, and these dudes is trash. They had like the worst record in the league. They had barely won a game all season. We got to play against them. Now, our team did the same thing LeBron and them did. Now, we didn't have a LeBron on the team, unless I'm going to call myself LeBron. But we were not ready to play. We were kind of lollygagging. We weren't really taking the game seriously. We knew the other team was trash. We knew they hadn't won a game all year. They knew that we were good and that we was trying to compete for a championship. Everybody knew this. But, again, if we played the games on paper, we wouldn't have to play the game. They would have just laid down and lost. They came to play. It was their last game of the year. They had nothing to lose. Their season was already done. They were not going to the playoffs. We was in the playoffs whether we won or lost. But we thought they were just going to lay down, and they kicked our butt. We went to their gym, and they beat us. I remember the game was on a Saturday morning, and they beat us. And the coach was so mad after the game. I mean, I'm laughing about it now, but the coach was so mad after the game because he knew that if we had to play our road game, he was going to have to take time off from other stuff that he was doing just to go to the road game. So he was mad about that. He didn't say that, but that's what I knew. Because he had, at that time, our coach he only coached part-time. He had a full-time job outside of coaching. Because at the time, the Abington program is not what it is now. So when we lost that game, he was so pissed, he threw his clipboard on the ground. He threw his clipboard on the ground so hard it bounced back up in the air like that, above us like that. And he was so pissed. I almost wanted to laugh when he did it. But, of course, I didn't laugh. He probably would have tried to beat me up or something. But we lost that game because we didn't show up ready to play. And in sports, this happens all the time. Teams don't show up or players don't show up ready to play. Those of y'all who are old enough, y'all remember, I don't know if anybody watching is old enough to remember Mike Tyson when he was Mike Tyson. Before he ever lost, and he went, I believe it was in Tokyo, and he fought Buster Douglas. They did an ESPN 30 for 30 about that a couple years ago. Mike Tyson lost not because Buster Douglas was not better than Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson lost because Mike Tyson wasn't ready to play. Mike Tyson showed up thinking that he could just do whatever he wanted and party and drink and do drugs and mess with girls and not really train hard, and he could still win the fight. And Mike Tyson got his butt kicked. He almost won the fight anyway, just off of talent, but he got his butt kicked because he wasn't ready to play. And this happens in sports all the time. I can give you example after example that happens in sports. When somebody shows up not ready to play, thinking that they're going to win just because they're good, and then they get their butt kicked, and then it's too late to realize, oh, damn, I should have actually got ready to play for this game, for this match, or I wouldn't have took this L. But it happens in life as well. When we don't show up ready to play, not ready to perform, not ready to deliver, not only do you lose when you show up in a game, but those of you who aren't on the team yet, you haven't earned your spot yet, you might lose your chance to get on a team. You might lose your chance to get a job. You might lose your chance to get seen. And if you're trying to get seen and you're not ready to play, nobody's even going to notice you in the first place. So then you could become the person who feels like you have game, you have talent, but nobody knows who you are. Nobody's ever recognized you. You feel like you've been overlooked. You feel like you've been underrated your whole life because nobody's ever noticed you, because when it's time for you to be ready to play, you ain't ready. And you didn't even know it was time for you to be ready because you didn't know what I'm about to tell you right now. So now, let's get into the points here of how to be ready to play all the time. Point number one, you got to take every day, every game, every practice, every opponent seriously. Why? Because you, just like Mike Tyson, just like my team at Penn State Abington, just like LeBron's team in that documentary, you are not too good to get beat. You are not too good to be defeated. Y'all remember the Golden State Warriors, 2016. 73 wins in the regular season, Best regular season record ever. They celebrating. They killing everybody in the playoffs. They get to the finals. They kicking the Cavs' butts. They up 3-1. Draymond Green is trash talking LeBron James at the end of Game 4. Steph Curry gets kicked out of Game 4 for throwing his mouthpiece. And between Game 4 and Game 5, the Warriors is talking all kinds of trash, right? Klay Thompson was talking trash about LeBron. Klay Thompson's dad talking about the Warriors are better than the all-time Lakers teams from the 80s. Steph Curry's wife is talking trash about LeBron James on Twitter. Draymond Green was running his mouth. Then Draymond gets suspended, but the Warriors are still talking trash. We up 3-1. We about to go back home to Golden State. We about to win another championship and be crowned the greatest team of all time. And we all know what happened after that. The Warriors blew a 3-1 lead. Why? Well, part of it, they didn't have Draymond Green. But another part of it is the Warriors forgot that they hadn't won yet. They forgot they didn't win the championship yet. They were already talking about whether they're one of the greatest teams of all time. They hadn't won the 4th game yet. And then they lost 3 games in a row. I mean, everybody knows what happened. It wasn't that long ago. All y'all old enough to remember that. Nobody is too good to get beat. Nobody is too good at their job to not get fired. Nobody is too good to not be replaced. All right, y'all know the Beyonce song, Irreplaceable, to the left, to the left. All right, nobody's irreplaceable. All right, anybody can be replaced. Anybody can be beat. Anybody can be fired. Anybody can get got. Like Medea used to say in those Tyler Perry movies. All right, nobody is too good to face defeat. All right, I don't care how much better you are than your opponent. I don't care how many times you already beat them. I don't care, on paper, how far above you are than those other people. If you show up not ready to play, I guarantee you, here's what's going to happen. If you make a habit of showing up not ready to play, one day you're going to show up not ready to play, and you're going to go up against an opponent who doesn't care what's on paper, doesn't care that they're not supposed to be able to compete, doesn't care that you're supposed to be 1,000 times better than them. They're going to be ready to play, and they're going to hit you in your mouth the same way Buster Douglas hit Mike Tyson. And before you realize what happened, you already got a 10 count and the fight's over and you lost your belt, metaphorically speaking. This happens to people all the time in life. We call it falling asleep at the wheel. All right, any of y'all know somebody, or any of y'all ever been in a car and you fell asleep at the wheel? All right, listen, how many times do you got to fall asleep at the wheel to never ever get another chance to get behind the wheel in your life, if you understand what I'm saying? You only got to fall asleep at the wheel once, and that could change your whole life. It could change your family's life. It can change the life of everybody you know and everybody you love. You fell asleep at the wheel one time. Not twice, not 10 times, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. LeBron James voice. You fall asleep at the wheel one time, you could blow all your opportunity. This is why I say, for those of you who haven't followed me for long, you ain't in my masterclass at Working Again University, I say this all the time. Being a professional means you show up every single time ready to perform, regardless of who you playing against, regardless of who you playing for, regardless of how many people showed up, regardless of what happened last time, what you think is going to happen next time. You got to show up every time. Any of y'all watch college football, you know that sometimes in the college football season, a team is undefeated and is looking like they're going to compete for the national championship, and then they lose one game and it blows their whole season. And usually when they lose that one game, they don't even lose to a team that's that good. You ever see that? Like a college team is ranked in the top 5, top 10, and they're trying to get close to that national championship, the BCS or whatever they got, the college football playoff system they got now. And then they lose, but they lose to a team that's not even that good. They lose to a team that's unranked, usually a team in the conference, not because the other team is better than them, but because they didn't decide to show up. They didn't bring it and come focused for a game that they thought the other team's just going to lay down. Because look, we number 2 in the nation. These dudes ain't even ranked. They ain't even got a winning record. They ain't beating us. I know it's on their home field, but they ain't beating us. We're going to beat them. And then they lose because they didn't show up ready to play. Because they just thought the other team was just going to lay down just because you're good. All right, that's not the way that it works in life, ladies and gentlemen. You only need one time to mess up, and it's a wrap. It's over. Nobody's too good to be beaten. Point number 2. For those who came in the middle of this stream, the topic is right there down in the pinned comment, how to be ready to play at all times, or is above or below me. I don't know which one it is on Facebook. It's either up there or down there, but y'all can read. Y'all know where it's at. Number 2 thing, this is what I just said. Discipline of professionalism. Professionalism means you show up every single day ready to perform regardless of how you feel. If you feel the opponent's trash, you feel like you're tired, you feel like you don't feel like being there, you feel like you did all this hard work yesterday, why you got to do it again? If you're a professional, you show up ready to play anyway. Doesn't matter how you feel. Feelings are not part of being a professional. Now, you can have feelings. I mean, you're a human. You're going to have feelings. But how you feel is not part of being a professional. If you step on the field or on the court or into the office or into the boardroom or whatever, you got to be ready to play. You're expected to be ready to play. And if you do not perform, you can lose your job. Doesn't matter. I'll tell y'all another story. When I was in high school, this dude, my freshman year, because my high school, we didn't have a JV. We didn't have a freshman team. We only had varsity. Just one team. One coach, no assistant coaches, no nothing. That's how underfunded we was in Philadelphia back then. My high school team had tryouts freshman year, and this dude who was a freshman made the team. His name was James. He made the team. He was the only freshman who made the club. He on the basketball team all freshman year. He didn't even play. He sat on the bench all year, but he was on the basketball team. Sophomore year, he had to try out again. This is the way the coach did it. Everybody got to try out again every year. So he has tryouts sophomore year, and everybody tries out again, and even the people who didn't make it. This dude, James, didn't make the basketball team sophomore year. He made it freshman year, tried out sophomore year, got cut. Tried out junior year, got cut again, and then he finally made it again his senior year. So he made it his 9th grade year, got cut 2 years in a row, then he made it his senior year. But what happened his sophomore year, he went to tryouts, and he didn't play too well. And he was getting crossed over. He was getting scored on by some other players. He wasn't looking too good at tryouts sophomore year. And he went and asked the coach, yo, how I get cut? And the coach said, yo, you ain't do nothing. You didn't perform at tryouts. And the dude, James, was like, I was sick. He said, I was sick the day of tryouts. And the coach said, listen, you're in a performance-based business. That's not exactly what he said, but basically the coach said, I ain't hearing your excuses. You didn't perform. You got cut. So you made the team 9th grade, you got cut 10th grade. So you could go down in history as the only player in history to ever have done that. The discipline of professionalism, ladies and gentlemen, is you show up every single time regardless. Let me ask y'all a question. Somebody might know the answer to this. Do y'all know why in the NBA, for example, or even in the NFL, but I would say the NBA happens more often because it's so many games. NFL is fewer games. It doesn't happen as much. In the NBA, a team could be really bad. They could be like the worst team in the league, tanking, on their way to try to get a high draft pick so they can draft whoever the star is coming out in the draft. And then they play against the best team in the league, like a team that's competing for the title. They play against the Warriors or the Bucks or the Lakers or whoever's the best team that year, one of the best teams that year. And they play that team that one night, that terrible team who's having a terrible season. Nobody's even showing up to the game. This team's going nowhere. It's just a laughing stock of a team. But then that one night, they can beat the championship contending team. How is that? How does that happen? How can the team that's competing for a championship lose to a team that they already been eliminated from playoff contention? Just one random night, they lose to this team that's trash. How does that happen? Why does it happen? And then here's the other question. Why does that same team, that trashy team, they beat the defending champs one night? They got the worst record in the league, but they beat the defending champs one night. Then the next game, they go play against another trashy team and lose. So they're the worst team in the league, beat the best team in the league, and then the next night they lose to another trashy team. How did they play so great that one night to beat the defending champs? How's that happen? Is it because all of a sudden the players on the trashy team became good? Is it because they were super motivated that one night when they played the championship team? Maybe. Is it because the championship team became garbage for one night? No. The reason is, and it's right there in the comment, Harris says it, the championship team didn't come to play. That's half of it. Here's the other half of it. The trashy team just decided to get focused for that one game. Because, see, the difference between when I'm using the NBA team as an example versus that LeBron story I told you earlier when they were in high school is different when you're talking about high schools. High schools are amateurs. You don't know what you're going to get from an amateur most days. But from the pros, everybody's talent level is pretty close. Everybody's up here in the top 1%. There might be some vacillation. There may be some really, really good talented players, but everybody's talented. There are no players who are not talented at the professional level of anything. All right, at the professional level of everything, there's talent. Everybody's talented. Now, whether they deliver it like they're talented every day, that's a different story. But if they have talent, that's not in question. So the trashy team, here's the thing. Who's a really good team? Let's say the Warriors before this year. The Warriors when they were the champs. The Warriors are coming to town to play against the worst team in the league. You know what those players do from the worst team in the league the night before the Warriors game? You know what they do the night before? No clubs, no partying, no girls, no staying up late, no drinking, no smoking, no nothing. You know what they do? They go to bed early. They wake up fully refreshed. They're focused. They get to the gym early for the game. They're all ready and hyped up for this one game. You know why? Because it's their one chance of the year to play in a game that matters. So they're focused. And now, the defending champs, they playing the Warriors. Again, the Warriors when they were winning, not this year. They so used to playing every game matters. Every game they play in matters. Every game they play in, they're the stars. Every game they play in, people are playing is like the championship. So they finally get a chance to relax. Because now they're playing against this trashy team who's going nowhere. Is going to go to the lottery. They about to get the number 1 pick in the draft because they so trash. And they don't show up. They show up, but they don't really show up. They show up like they think the other team's just going to lay down because they're the defending champs. Like they think everything's just going to work out in their favor just because they're so good. And that's how they can get beat. And then the very next night, that same trashy team that beat the defending champs, they showed that they can play at a high level when they want to. The very next night, they go lose to another trash team. Why? Because their focus went away. Right after that one game, they went right back to being unfocused. At the pro level of unfocused. I want y'all to understand. I'm not saying that the general common person level, the pro level of unfocused. They did not lack for talent the whole year. They had talent the whole year. They weren't focused. They didn't show up. They weren't ready to play. So when you show up not ready to play, understand that the most bummy, trashy opponent that you think there is can beat you that day, especially at the pro level. Because at the pro level, everybody you play against got game. They might not show their game. They might not be consistent in their game, but they have game. And they might decide that they're going to show their game the one time they play against you because you're underestimating them. Everybody got a little bit of ego. Trust me. Point number 3. The topic, for those who came in the middle of this, we're talking about how to be ready to play at all times in everything that you do. Point number 3, do not measure yourself by your opponent. Don't measure yourself by the size of the job. Don't measure yourself by the size of what you think is the size of the opportunity that you're stepping into. You got to measure yourself by the fact that you consider yourself a professional, which means you show up and do your job regardless of the size of the chance or the opportunity or the check or how many people are watching or how good your opponent is. This is what a professional does. This is the discipline of being a pro. I want y'all to listen really closely to what I'm saying to you right now. I heard the story about 50 Cent. When he was first coming out rapping, like before his first album came out, but he had this buzz. And those of y'all old enough to remember, he had his mixtapes out and he was buzzing. Everybody's talking about 50 Cent. So he was about to do this concert in a town that he had never been to before. And as he's getting ready for the show, one of 50's entourage members, one of his crew was like, yo, 50, what if, we never performed in this town before. What if nobody comes to the show? What if there's only like 2 people in the audience tonight? What are we going to do, 50, if only 2 people come to the show? Because we have no idea who's coming to the show. We've never been here before. 50 said, if only 2 people come to the concert tonight, we're going to give those 2 people the best 2-person concert they have ever seen in their lives. And know what that means? The next time we come to this town, there's going to be 20 people at the concert. And then the next time we come, it's going to be 200 people. And the next time it's going to be 5,000. The whole point that 50 was making and telling that to his crew member who asked the question was this. His level of performance was not based on how big the audience was. It's not based on how much money are y'all going to pay me. It's not based on do I got a chance to blow up off of this one performance. His level of performance was based on I'm who I am and this is what I signed up to do. I'm going to give my best performance every single time regardless of how I see the opportunity or how I see the audience or how exposed I'm going to get from this opportunity. I'm going to deliver every time because I'm who I am, and that's what I signed up to do. I'm a professional at what I do. You see, ladies and gentlemen, being a professional at what you do is about the fact that you show up every single time. It does not matter if nobody's watching, if nobody's listening, if nobody's reading, if nobody's downloading, subscribing, following, whatever it is that you measure your success by. Even if nobody's paying attention, you still deliver at your highest possible level because you only need one person to notice you doing what you're doing that can take you from here to here. Only one person got to see you. Only one person got to see you playing for you to get an opportunity to go from a nobody that's unknown to being a somebody. Those of y'all know who Ja Morant, who's playing for the Memphis Grizzlies. He's probably going to win Rookie of the Year in the NBA because Zion ain't going to play enough games to get it. Ja Morant got discovered. He wasn't being recruited to play college ball. He was an unrecruited high school player. And the way the story goes, an assistant coach, he was either an assistant coach or a scout, I can't remember. He was at some AAU tournament watching some other dudes play. And this dude went to go get something to drink, or he went to the bathroom or something. He went into this little auxiliary gym. And he seen some kids playing by themselves, playing like half court, 3-on-3 or something. And John Morant was playing in a half court 3-on-3. He wasn't even playing in the tournament. And dude seen John Morant. He was like, this kid looks like he can play. He kept an eye on him. And that's how John Morant got his D1 scholarship. He wasn't even trying to get seen. He didn't even know nobody was watching. He got seen because he was out there performing. Again, not even knowing he was being watched. But somebody saw him. And that's how he got his break and how he got his college scholarship. Of course, he went to college, did his thing. Now he's in the NBA doing his thing. And now he's probably going to win Rookie of the Year. Now, am I saying that's exactly what's going to happen to you? Maybe. Maybe not. The whole point is, it only takes one person to notice you for you to blow up from where you're at to where you're going. So when you're doing your thing and you like, well, only one person watched my video, or only 5 people read my blog, or only 2 people liked my post, well, you don't know who those 5 people are. You don't know who those 2 people know. They might know somebody who knows the person that you really need to be seen by. And if that one person sees you, you could go from 2 people to 1 million people seeing everything that you do, but you got to deliver for those 2 people. If you look up and say, damn, there's only 2 people watching, and then you half-ass your work, well, what do you think's going to happen? And then you don't show up because only 2 people were paying attention. What do you think's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen. You're going to be right back there delivering for 2 more people the next day, and the next day, and next day after that. And then when your career's over, you will look back and say, well, I never got my opportunity, but you did get an opportunity. You just didn't see it, and you weren't ready for it. You weren't ready to play. Because you are measuring your level of delivery. You are rationing out your level of delivery based on what you thought was the size of the opportunity. But the opportunity was way bigger than you thought it was. You just didn't recognize it. You didn't know. So I tell you these stories just so hopefully one of them connects with you. All right, all these stories that I tell, I just need one of these to connect with you so that you get a change in behavior, which will get you showing up every time, consistently delivering. So when that opportunity is watching and you don't even know it's an opportunity, you won't know it's an opportunity till after you perform. Not before. Most of the time when an opportunity is watching you, it doesn't announce itself. All right, those of you who play ball, any kind of sport, any sport, if you play a high school sport, the coaches, like the college coaches who come to scout you and watch you, unless they are famous, like famous that they walk in the room, everybody knows who they are, or they got on like the polo shirt with the logo on it, a lot of times the college coach will come watch you and you don't even know who they are. You don't even know they're a college coach. You don't know what school they work for. You have no idea. You do not know their face from anywhere, but they're watching you. They might be at your game. They might be at practice. They might be watching film of your practice. And you don't even know they're watching. And if you don't show up and deliver, well, guess what? You'll never know that they were there because they'll never reach out to you. They ain't never offering you a scholarship. They might be talking to your coach about your practice habits, and your coach says, yeah, he don't really show up for practice. And guess what? That coach is going to move on to the next guy that he want to recruit. He was interested in you because he heard you had game, but then when he found out from your coach that you don't show up for practice every day and really give your effort, well, he said, all right, let me move on to somebody else who actually shows up for practice every day. So I'm telling you all that to tell you this. There's opportunity being presented to you and watching you and observing you and considering you every single day. You just might not know that it's watching you. So I'm hoping that when I give you these messages every day, that something connects with you to be a wake-up call so that you don't blow your opportunity and not even know that you blew it. So anybody out there who's talking about they never got an opportunity, they never get seen, they don't get exposure. I hear players say this to me all the time. Dre, I play at a small school, I'm from a small town, so I don't get any exposure. Listen, you are getting exposure every day. Every day you're getting exposure. Somebody's seeing you every day. You have no idea who, everybody who's in that gym every day, you don't know who they know. All right, your coach might know somebody who knows somebody, and that coach is going to call them, and they're going to say, yo, coach, your coach, hey, who you have on your team that's worth looking at? And if you're the type of player who doesn't show up every day because you're like, well, I play at this small school, nobody really pays attention here, I'm from this small town, I don't get any opportunity, woe is me. Well, he's not going to mention your name. He's going to mention somebody else's name who shows up every day and is ready to play because they know that the opportunity can happen at any time. And that college coach who shows up to one of your games randomly, you don't know who they are because you don't know their face. They're in the stands watching you play. There's only 10 people in the stands. They wanted the 10 people in the stands. You didn't know, though. And you're like, damn, I play at this small school. Nobody ever comes to our games. So you don't really give your best effort in the game. You just blew your opportunity. That was your one opportunity to get a college scholarship. You blew it. And you didn't even know you blew it. So then 20 years from now, you're going to be 40 years old talking about, well, I wanted to play college ball, but nobody ever recruited me because I played at this small school. Well, they didn't recruit you because they came to watch you and you didn't show up. You weren't ready to play. So you see how this works? 7 billion people on the planet, ladies and gentlemen. You don't know everybody. You don't know who everybody is. You don't know who other people know. So the person that's watching you right now might know the person that you need to connect with. You don't know that, though. And if you don't show up all the way and give your best as if that person was watching, you might blow your opportunity and not even know that you blew it. All right, how many times do I got to say that? Now, all that being said, I'm going to recap these points that I've given you here today. And I'm going to tell you about these books that I got here in front of me. And then I'm going to take any questions that we got going on in the comment section that's related to the topic. First of all, this book right here is called The Mirror of Motivation. The subtitle is The Self-Guide to Self-Discipline. I wrote this book so you can start being the person you need to be, so you can do what you actually need to do and have the life that you want to have and be the person that you really need to be in your life. Not the person you think you're supposed to be, not the person that somebody else told you to be, but the person that you actually need to be. I will give you this book for free because I've already paid for it. All you got to do is take care of the shipping. Go to mirrormotivation.com. Tell me where to send the book, and I will get this book into your hands. It is The Mirror of Motivation. You get it at mirrorofmotivation.com. This book right here is called The Overseas Basketball Blueprint. The examples that I just gave you, many of them were from sports. You want to play professional basketball overseas, travel the world, and get paid for it on somebody else's dime? Well, all you got to do is play basketball every day. Oh, and let me give you a hint. You want to play pro basketball? Or you better show up every day. You want to play overseas? You better show up to practice every day. You better be ready to go every day, because if you don't, I guarantee you it's 200 players who will gladly take your spot the next day. Literally the next day. That's how it works in overseas basketball. All right, it ain't next week. Tomorrow, they will take your spot. I'll give you this book for free. It's already paid for. You take care of the shipping. Get it at balloverseas.com. Why would you want this book? This book is made specifically for players who want to play professional basketball overseas. You want to travel the world, get paid for it, have somebody else cover your housing, somebody else pay for your food, somebody else pay for your flights. All you got to do is come to the gym ready to play and play basketball for 2 to 3 hours a day. That's all you got to do. That's a full-time job. If you want that job, get this book right here at balloverseas.com. I already took care of the price of the book. You take care of the shipping. balloverseas.com, Overseas Basketball Blueprint. Now, let me see what we got going on in the comment section. If there is a comment or question on this topic, go ahead and post it right now. This is what I do every day. For those of y'all who don't know me, I do a live every single day at 5:15 p.m. Eastern until further notice every day. So turn on your notifications. And when I'm done going through the topic, it's a different topic every day. It's never the same thing. Then I take questions. So if you got questions, then make sure you are here and watch the whole thing so that you can ask questions. I will answer them. All right, so we're seeing what we got going on in the comments section. Harris Biz 03, what's good? C Lord G1, what's going on? Shout out to everybody who has been checking in. I see some of y'all been checking in consistently. So shout out to people who've been checking in consistently and soaking up this game right here in these lives. Harris Biz says, yeah, the best team don't come to play. That's right. So like Kobe said, he's not playing for the Hornets. Well, I mean, it wasn't because the Hornets were bad. It's because Kobe just wanted to play for the Lakers his whole life. But I get what you're saying. Brandon said, play to win, don't play not to lose. Yes, that's actually also a good point. I appreciate you, Crutch Ghettos in. I appreciate that. Coffee the Great said, so would you say it's easier to be successful in today's age compared to the past? Depends on how you define success. How do you define successful? You know, people throw that word around. When I ask people what it means, they usually don't really have a way to describe it. So Coffee the Great, tell me what your definition is of successful, and then I can answer your question. Matthew W. Miller says, are the books on Audible? Of course. You kidding me? All this talking that I do every day, of course my books are on Audible. All right, every book I got is in physical, digital, and audiobook format. And when they got virtual reality format, I'm going to put my books in virtual reality. And when they got augmented reality, I'm going to put them in augmented reality. So whatever format a book can be made in, My books will be in that, guaranteed. Brandon said, my third chair clarinet in the band of my high school, and I fell back chairs throughout the years because of a lack of practice. Got past some people who are not as talented, right? So I guess what that means, fell back chairs, means if you're not performing, they push you further back in the crowd. I get it. Yeah, you didn't because you weren't showing up. I get that. That's a good point. That's a good example. The Tuba, thank you. Monday Diaz over on Facebook, appreciate you. Make sure you hit that share button, Monday. Hit that share button, share this to your timeline so somebody else can soak up this game. Eyeball 2424, I appreciate you being here every day. Harris says, I needed this. This COVID stuff slowed me down big time. Yeah, this COVID stuff for everybody who's kind of been slowed down from doing what you normally do. Take this opportunity to build, man. Make yourself better. Put yourself in a better space. Or whatever you got the space to do now you got time. A lot of people got time right now. So that means go read a book. Go watch some videos. Go write a book. Whatever you've been talking about doing, but you said you didn't have time to do, now you got time. So do it. And most of the time when I talk to people, they say they're not doing something. I say, why you didn't do it? They say, I ain't got time. I got work. I got kids. All right, now you got time. So no excuses now. Do something. Saleh DK Idek says, you deserve way more recognition. I'm listening. I'm throwing the ball in my bedroom while listening. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you. Matthew, appreciate that. Eyeball said, I used to have a hard time getting to that ready to play mindset, but I've helped you a lot. That's what's up. That's the point. That's the goal. That's the aim, to help people step their game up one person at a time. So if you stepping your game up, you're doing a good thing. So Coffee says, easier to blow up and get famous since everyone on social media watching you. Well, again, that also depends on what you mean by getting famous, but you can get followers. Yes, it's easier to get followers. Well, back in the day, there were no followers. No such thing as a follower back in the day. So now you have that opportunity. But at the same time, everybody has the same possibility. So you're competing against the whole world. Whereas back in the day, if you could get through the gatekeepers, your competition was only the other few people who got through the gatekeepers. Now you're competing against every human being. Everybody with a Facebook or Instagram account or a YouTube account, which is damn near everybody. Anybody with a phone can become famous. Anybody with a phone can post pictures and videos and all that. So you're competing against the whole world. So it's easier, but it's also harder at the same time because you got to cut through the fat. But let me give you an even better answer than that. Your goal may not necessarily be famous to the whole world. You don't need everybody to know about you. You just need the right people to know about you. Like this book right here, I made it clear who this book is for. This book is for people who want to play basketball overseas. I don't need to be famous to the whole world for this book. Listen, your mom and your grandmom don't need to know about this book because they ain't trying to play basketball overseas. I need the people who want to play basketball overseas to know about this book. Not everybody, just the people who need it. This ain't for everybody. This book right here ain't for everybody. This book is only for the people who need the material. That's why when I talk about these books, I don't just say, yo, everybody needs this book. You never hear me say that. I say, look, this book is specifically for the people who want to be who you really need to be so you can do what you really want to do in your life. Because a lot of people doing stuff they don't really want to do, but they feel like they're supposed to. You want to do what you really need to do, that you really been thinking about, that you don't tell people about. The stuff that you think about in the back of your mind that keeps you up at night, you really want to get to doing that. I wrote this book for those people. That's not for everybody. It's only for some people. So I make sure when I'm saying that, I'm making sure people know who I'm talking to. This ain't for everybody. I don't need to be world famous with this book. I need to be famous just to those people who want to play ball overseas. And it ain't everybody. It's a small percentage of the population. So understand that your goal may not just to get, have everybody know you, because everybody can't really help you do what you need to do. Who do you really want to make a difference to? They call that having a niche. So what's your niche? Who's your niche audience? That's something you should think about. You want to get out there. Eyeball said followers are called stalkers back then. That's a fact. All right, so anybody else got a question? I'll take one or two more questions. I'm going to give everybody like 30 seconds to post it, see if we got one. I'll tell you about these books one more time. MirrorMotivation.com, The Self-Guide to Self-Discipline. This book is for the people who really want to lock into who you really are as a person, not who somebody told you to be or what you think you're supposed to be, but who you are as a person. That's why it's called the mirror of motivation. All right, it's for you to look in the mirror and really get clear on who you really are and actually being that person so you can have a life that you really want to have. MirrorOfMotivation.com. You get this at MirrorMotivation.com. It's free. Just take care of the shipping. This right here is specifically for the people who want to play basketball overseas. I know some people watching this right now who have this book or have ordered this book and it's on the way. Get this at balloverseas.com, the Overseas Basketball Blueprint. This book is not for everybody. only for the people who want to play ball overseas. If you have these or you want something else to read, this book right here is called Work on Your Game, Using the Pro Athlete Mindset to Dominate Your Game in Business, Sports, and Life. This is my whole framework. I condensed it down into the best 250 pages of my whole framework. Now, I could talk. Obviously, y'all hear me do this live every day. If I took all these guys and transcribed and made them into a book, it would be 10 times bigger than this book right here already, and that's just in the last month. So obviously I can make this book way longer, but I took the best stuff, the most relevant, important stuff. If you only could get it in 250 pages, I put that in here. And the book, you can get this at workonyourgamebook.com. All right, let me see what else we got. Main goal is to be the best. Exactly, just do that. Any ways to get money besides purchasing something from you? Well, if you want to send a donation, you can. I mean, I don't really ask for donations. I'd rather give you value in exchange, but if you want to, you can PayPal me. PayPal.me/DreAllDay. My PayPal is Dre All Day. So if you want to do that, PayPal.me/Dre All Day, you can do it. I usually, again, like I said, I don't advertise that. I'd rather give you something of value. But look, if that's what you want to do, if that helps you, then I will receive. They say in the book, The Go Giver, the key to great giving is to be a great receiver. So I will receive that if you wish. So everybody, that's that. Tomorrow I will be going live again, 5:15 p.m. Eastern, every single day until further notice. I'm going live every day, 5:15 p.m. Turn on your notifications. Follow my story on Instagram and on Facebook, and any updates, y'all know about it. But until I say otherwise, I'm going live every day, 5:15 p.m. Eastern. Everybody have a great weekend. Work on your game. Dre All Day. We out.